Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Now I want to make the annual video. It feels like I make this once a year of how I make a lot of money from clubs and a lot of money in top drives. Now the main thing about making money in top drives specifically boils down to clubs, which is, you know, a really good but bad thing at the same time, because clubs, you know, the revenue is there. You can make the cash if you put your time into it, but at the same time you have to suffer through a lot of repetitiveness, and the main thing about it is that every time I play clubs, all I can think about is, oh, this is a game mode that, you know, the developers of the game, Hutch, literally do not care about. This is a game mode that is literally thrown towards the side. Hutch does not put this in the priority. So obviously all this kind of stuff is really, you know, demotivating. But when it comes to playing clubs, the first hurdle is always the mental thing. As long as you tell yourself that you can play clubs and you can make a lot of money today, you're gonna do that. Now I made a really in-depth club video where I even made, I think it was a 7-page PDF document. It was basically like the playbook for clubs, and if you want to check that out, the link will be in the description below. You can also check it out on my website. Link is also in the description below. And if you want to see the video that I made, because I spent, I think, 6 to 8 hours making that video last year about how I made a bunch of money from clubs. So if you want to see that super in-depth video, once again, I will put a picture of it right here, and the link of it will be in the description below. But today's video is going to be a little different. It's going to be more hands-on. So instead of me just, you know, reading off basically, you know, the rule book of what I've written, because I wrote that, I'm actually going to put everything into practice and show it to you. So over here, as you can see, yeah, this is what you always see when you're a Full Throttle member. You lose a lot of defeats. But because I'm me, I always get MVP at the same time, and there you go, you know, 8,600 with the booster. That is no big, I mean, that is no small feat. That is a big deal. So we'll get into it right now. Now the first thing I want to do whenever we jump into clubs is we want to familiarize ourselves with the events and the requirements of the day, the track sets and the requirements of the day. Usually for me, because I'm in a place where I already have a lot of cash, I've already opened a lot of packs, and you know, at this point I'm really only opening packs for content. I'm very happy with my garage. I don't really need to open any more ceramic packs. I'm doing it for you guys now. But really, I'm in this situation where I used to play clubs every day. No matter what the recs were, I just fight through it. But now I'm in this situation where I just tell myself, okay, I want to make at least $1 million a week. So every week I want to get at least $1 million. So some days I might make 300k, some days I might make 30k. I know some people want to be more consistent and they say, oh, I'm going to make 100k every day. Oh, I'm going to make 50k every day. If that works for you, go for that. But usually for me, I tell myself, oh, I'm going to get this quota by a week, and I will do whatever means necessary to get that goal. So maybe day one I might do, like, you know, 500k, and in the next 3 days I'll just do 20k, 20k, 20k. So what dictates how much money I make in a day? Well, that is going to be the track sets and the requirements, and that's why I'm making this video today, because we have some really good track sets and some really good requirements. There's one really bad track set, but it really doesn't matter because the requirements are really good. I would say that requirements are more important than track sets. If you have good requirements, you're gonna have a good day. So today we have petrol cars ×5, Ultra and German cars ×2. You can never go wrong with Ultras in my opinion. I love them. They're very easy to predict. They're very easy to understand, and the meta is very straightforward, unlike commons where it's just a cluster. I can't say the other word. And then last but not least, I think we have Japanese cars ×5, which is fine as well, especially if you're coin, you're probably having a heyday. So the first thing you want to do when you jump into clubs is, well, buy the booster, and second of all, you want to familiarize yourselves with the recs of the day. So obviously we have the Japanese with the Ultra, and then we want to see what the track sets are. We have Storm Chaser, we have Road Less Taken, and we also have Monte Carlo. Now I have all these track sets memorized, and if you join my Discord server, you will know, because I have a club server or club channel where I post all of the track sets of the day, and with my with my recommendations, all that kind of stuff. I'll put some examples over here for today's track sets on the screen, but basically, you know, I have all these track sets memorized, so I know what to get into it. Now the second thing is always efficiency. Now if you watched my other how to make money video, you would always know efficiency is incredibly important. So over here we have Storm Chaser, Ultra ×5, German ×2. I know that this is Storm Chaser Escobar because I named all of the variations. Like, some people just call it Storm Chaser 1, Storm Chaser 2, Storm Chaser 3. I'm not boring, you see. I named them after stuff, after people. So this is Storm Chaser Escobar. I think Road Less Taken today is named after Hot Garbage because that's the one where the tracklets are actually atrocious. But like I said, requirements are more important, so I am playing this a lot. And last one is Monte Carlo. I do believe is Matilda or Michaela. It's one or the other. But anyway, this is the one Escobar is associated with very fast track sets because Escobar runs all the time. So right off the bat, I want to look at hands that I can save. So I took a screenshot on my phone because obviously I usually play clubs on my phone, and right now I don't think I have any saved hands. I do actually have one that I called save. So the first thing I usually do when it comes to clubs is like I familiarize myself with the track sets, the requirements, and then I find myself the best possible hand to make for these events. So the first one here, I think we're going to go straight up, is going to be Storm Ultra Rare, which I do believe this is exactly the one. Yep, Ultra Rare, and it is Storm Chaser. So what I'm using for this, we'll start with the German cars first because that's the one where we kind of need to use them. I'll be using the Roof BTR, and I think I will also be using the Mercedes C350E. I might change that in a bit. That is my lose condition, that Mercedes. I don't really care much about that. And then next up on the list, we're going to be using two RQ63 Samoras because we're expecting basically 3 drags from this track set. So 1, 2, and then last but not least, we're going to be using a 58. Now here's the thing, I want to use the Subaru Levorg because this car is incredibly strong. So I'm going to look for the Subaru Levorg straight up. Where are you? Put you right here, and then whatever leftover RQ I'm going to use, I'm going to fit in whatever German car is left on the table. Preferably a standard tire car, but one that is slightly fast. So I'll go with the BMW 330e, and right off the bat, I'll save the hand, and I will name it this way. I always name it in the same formula. Okay, so I always go track set first. So it's Storm Chaser. I usually do Storm just for, you know, short form. And then Ultra. Okay, and that's how I do it. So I click OK, and then let's get into it. Now, right now, I currently have, I think, 6 saved hands for 6 different variations. The main reason why I do this is because I can be fast. You know, I can get events that are dying very soon, and I can take advantage of that. Also, I think this is a track set where using the Bulldog would be pretty good as well because of the test bowls, but yeah, whatever. I'm using the Tamoras. It's gonna be a dub anyway. So yeah, that's a 50 over there, and we should be expecting a 3-star 352 to 0. So we just want to get in there for the one race because I want to do my other saved hands. So I'm gonna do it right now. I'm not gonna speed up the video because I want you guys to watch the entire process of how I do this basically every day when we have great requirements. So the second one off the list is going to be roadless take in Japan. So straight up, let's go filter and let's go to country. Let's go to Japan. Now usually I don't save the hands for PC, it just takes a longer time, but on the phone I usually do it all the time. So roadless take in Japan, what I want to do is that my X factor is going to be the Pikes Peak because it's all surface tires. The problem is roadless taken today is roadless taken hot garbage, which is, you know, a very bipolar track set. Sometimes you have 3 off-road, sometimes you have 2 off-road, and then sometimes you have 3 on-road, sometimes you have 2 on-road, and then, you know, there's rain as well, so you can't use 3 off-road tires unless you want to use 2 performance tires in the wet. It gets very complex, and that's the thing why I don't like it a lot, because it's a very complex track set, and it's very messy as well. It's not very predictable. And then I was using the Hayabusa. I think it's fast. Oh yeah, there we go. I got a second Hayabusa yesterday, by the way, from a random ceramic pack. As you can see, I've only owned it for 0 days. Last but not least, RQ22. I'm just going to put in the Nissan Leaf just because, you know, this isn't the hand I'm using right now. So I'm going to save it. Once again, RLT. I always do the track set first, and then the requirement, Japan. And click OK. So let's do the one for the next one that I've also saved on my phone, and that's going to be Roadless Taken Ultra Rare. So straight off the bat, it is going to be these requirements as well. So we're going to get rid of Japan, and we're going to straight up be running 2 Opel Corsas. And pay attention to how many cars I'm using here that are actually Blossom Choice. And this is where Blossom Choice really shines. This is where you get to use them the most. Obviously, Blossom Choices are cars that you can use absolutely everywhere, but this is where they truly shine. Bronco I'm also using, and then last but not least, the last car I'm using here is the Targa. Yep, there we go, Targa. So I'm gonna reset that, close that, and save. Once again, this is going to be called Roadless Taken Ultra. Obviously, Ultra is associated with German as well. I just like to type shorter because it saves me a lot of time. And then 2 more hands I need to save. The next one is gonna be MONACO Ultra. So we're gonna stay with the German cars once again. I'm gonna be using BTR 332. Next one I'm gonna do is MONACO Ultra Rares. We're gonna have the Roof BTR as well as the Opel OPC Extreme to basically fill up the requirements of Ultra Rare German cars. And then next up, we're going to use the Tamora, the Charger, and the Viper. So I'm going to reset this right here, and let's put Charger 3. I always forget that this car is always the cheapest RQ to use. And then the next one is going to be the Tamora. And yeah, this is basically what I do in clubs every day. It's a bit faster because obviously when you play top drives on the phone, it's a lot faster than this. And then last but not least is also going to be the Viper. And there you go. Reset that, close that, and once again, just like clockwork, you save it. MONACO, track set first, and then ultra rare. There you go. You can put the rare if you want. You can even put the German if you want, but I'm too lazy to do that. And then the last hand that I have saved right now is MONACO Japan. It was Japan times 5. So, shut up! Alright, and the last hand that I have saved for today's requirements is going to be MONACO Japan. So for MONACO Japan, I'm running 3 Suzuki C2s, because the MONACO is just like the Storm Chaser today. It's basically 3 fast track sets, sometimes even 4. And when it comes to Japan, they're not really known for dragsters, so I kind of use the Suzuki C2 every single time. So I'm running all 3 of them. I have them maxed, as well as my BBR. So where is the BBR located? That should be 63. There you go. And last but not least, just to save some RQ over here, I'm running a Datsun. So I think we have to get rid of the ultra category. And let's go with Datsun. And I do believe, oh, it's not here because it's called a Nissan 300ZX. No, is it? It's the uncommon. You can't space it, which is really annoying. Okay, I'll just go all the way down to uncommon here. RQ29, yeah, okay, this is fair lady, my bad. Reset that, and once again, save that, and name it MONACO JP. So, right here off the bat, as you can see, when I play clubs, boom, I have all these save hands, so if I want to jump into a dying event really quick, I can just go back and refer to these hands completely, you know, incredibly fast, so I can snipe any dying event to get some quick cash that I might miss out on if I take the time to make a hand from scratch. Now, before we continue racing in clubs, I want to show you how important blossom choices actually are. Let's count how many blossom choices I'm using in these 5 different hands that will win me basically MVP or top 10 every time, basically money, right? So with BTR, that's 1, 2 Tamoras, that's 3, and a Subaru Legacy, that's 4. Then we go to Japan, we have the Bluebird, that's 5, the Datsun, that's 6, the Hayabusa isn't blossom choice, but it's really close to being one, but we won't count it, okay? Then we have Rolex Taken Ultra, where we have 3 more blossom choices, which brings us up to 9 with the 2 Corsas and the Caterham. Then we have MONACO Ultra, once again a repeat of the BTR, but I'm counting it anyway, so that's going to be 10 Chargers, 3, 11 Tamora, 12, and then MONACO Japan, we have 3 Suzuki C2s, 15. So what is 5 times 5? 25. So 15 out of the 25 cars I'm using to get me the money, to get me the top positions in clubs, are all blossom choice. So it's pretty freaking nice, to be honest. But let's be honest now, as you can see, my hand is so good. 3 people have already lost to me because we only did 1 race, as you can see. So what was this again? Storm Chaser Ultra? Was this the hand I was using? Something like this. So let's get straight back into it. Now, a good card to use here would also be the Bulldog. It really depends how often you're going to get the testable track set, because if you get the testable track set, then boom, you've got the best Ultra for the testable. And once again, if I replace the BTR or the Tamora with the Bulldog, guess what? That's also blossom choice. So yeah, really strong cards over here. So we're going to skip that, and yes, well, I mean, it's an honorary blossom choice because it is a prize card at the end of the day. So yeah, we move on. Once again, another win condition, yes. And as you can see, a lot of drags. Like I said, I've already memorized the track sets for the day. Now, another thing that I want to talk about, and boom, as you can see, another win. 207 to what's 7-0? I'm look at this. Okay, look, I can't probably get the top spot just because 94 and 205 is far away, but because of this hand, I'm already guaranteed a top 10 position, which is basically all you want, because top 10 and MVP is where you get the money. Obviously, the sweet spot when it comes to making money in clubs, and I've said this in my in-depth video, if you want to check it out in the description, is you want to go for silver participation and top 10 or MVP, because either way you're gonna get yourself a lot of money, win or lose. With the booster, you'd be looking at about 7k, 8k, and if it's 8k, that is what, like 25% of a ceramic pack, because 8 times 4 is 32, I believe. But yeah, right here, money. We didn't even get 5 races done, even though we had more than 5 races, because most people lost to us. But the main important thing here is the performance, because if I did get silver participation, it would have been 6,800, so it's about a 1,000 difference. The money really comes from your performance. Where you finish is the most important thing, and that's why usually you see a lot of people when they go for like those bot events where, like, you know, there's no opponents and you just race as many times as you can. I find it a bit of a waste of time, because at that point you're kind of just racing not only for MVP, you're also racing for 30 races, which isn't really worth it because you're going to service a lot of cars in the end. And yeah, I guess you can use basically any car when you race against bots because you're beating commons, but to my opinion, the money that you make and the time that you invest is a bit of a waste of time. To get to get 30 races in MVP in a bot event will take you a minimum of 15 minutes. But hey, if you have the time to do that, go for it. You know what I mean? So petrol cars has been one that I've kind of not been going into that much. So now we're gonna go Monte Carlo, Japan. So we have a Monte Carlo, Japan saved already. So all we need to do is go to load hand and select Monaco JP. Now obviously this isn't going to fit, but that's fine because the blueprint is already here. All we need to do is change a little bit of cars and we're good to go. So I see the 3 cars that I want to change to say my Cube, the BBR and the 2 C2s. That gives me a 37-36 average. I want to keep my drag spec Suzuki C2 in there because it's so useful. So I'm going to use the Mazda RX-7. Another car that comes to my mind would be the Mazda RX-7 convertible because both of them are dragsters. And the last one is going to be RQ39, which let's just give it to the Nissan Silvia. Now I have to be completely honest, the hand I'm using right now isn't very strong. But what I want is a quick turnover. You know, I want to get into the event as quickly as possible. I basically have the blueprint stuck in my head. I know the ballpark what I need to use. I need to use drag orientated cars for this Monaco track set. Now, like I said at the start, I think I never really finished my sentence. The track sets and the requirements, especially the requirements, really dictate how much I make in a day. These kind of days where the requirements are great, I will do things like streams because I know that I can make a lot of money. I know I'll have a lot of fun. I have fun when the requirements are good. I can make a video like this to show it to you guys, and basically I can play a lot and make a lot of money. Then there's some other days where the requirements are absolutely hot garbage, like basically like, you know, French times 5 or, you know, common times 5, French times 2, stuff like that. I won't even play. Or Citroen times 5 or Fiat times 5 or Alfa Romeo times 5. All of these things I would definitely skip. So it is subjective though. There are some universal crappy requirements and then there's some subjective crappy requirements. For example, French times 5. If you're a French collector, that would be a great day for you. Go for it. It's not a good day for me because my French collection isn't very strong. So that's a subjective bad requirement. That is bad for my garage. But then there's some universal bad requirements where I see and I'm just like, I'm not gonna play. And if I see and if you see it, I would suggest that you shouldn't play either if you don't want to suffer. And that would be anything to do with commons, and anything to do with really crappy brands like Citroen or DS or Fiat. Anything like that, I'm out. Because at that point, it's just not worth playing clubs. Because clubs by itself is already a repetitive experience. Even if you have requirements that you like, it is going to be a repetitive experience already. So that's already a bit of a downer, but I usually fight through that and I just, you know, grind out the money. But then some days you have bad requirements and then it's repetitive and I'm just like, yeah, it's just not worth my time. I'm basically suffering here and I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna spend my time in my day where I could be making other videos or, you know, working on other projects to play clubs. So whenever I see common, whenever I see, you know, Fiat, whenever I see Alfa Romeo, I'm out. You know what I mean? If you're a Fiat collector, then, you know, by all means, go into it. But I think one of the worst ones I've seen, I think it was like Citroen times 5 for one day. And it was like French times 5, common times 5, French times 2, and then Citroen times 5. That was one of the worst days ever. It was funny because, like I said, in my Top Drive server, which is exclusive to Patreon, by the way, if you want to join, just a small little plug, I usually post in the server, you know, the daily requirements, the daily track sets. And if I'm busy, usually Oliver would do it, or maybe MJ, maybe Korn. And the requirements for Citroen times 5, French times 2, and common times 5, so 2 different requirements, were so freaking atrocious. Nobody posted that day. It was a couple days ago. I think it was like last week or something. So if you're in my server and you look at the clubs, you can look, because we posted dates for clubs every day. It refreshes every 24 hours. And it's like, you know, June 6th, June 7th, June 8th, June 10th. You know, something like that. So, no, I posted on June 9th. I know that because that was 6-9 day. But, you know, there was one day which we just totally just jumped over because it was just so bad. It was funny to see that because it basically meant, yeah, not a single soul was playing clubs that day because it was just that bad. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. I think this is our 5th race. I honestly have lost count. Sometimes people will lose to me. Sometimes people will beat me. But, you know, when people race you, that doesn't count as a race to your position. So I'm 6-1 right now. The best way to check is to check the RX-7, sorry, 5 and 10, there you go. So basically, we just keep going, right? We wait for the timer to go out, and then we continue the process. Now, another good example I want to show you is what are the best events to join. Now, I've talked about this once again in every garage club review in-depth review that I've done. What are the best events to join, and what are the worst events to join in clubs? Straight off the bat, I don't think we have an example of a really bad situation. This one's pretty bad just because it just started. So, you know, it's all about trying to save as much time as possible. If you join a 10k, it basically means that, you know, you're not going to be playing another event for the next hour, depending on how close this event is going to boil down to. So usually this kind of events where it's like 10k or 10k 9k, you know, events that are very far from ending, they're beautiful events for, you know, a last event. When you're done with your club session, maybe this is the last race you're gonna do, or the last club event you're gonna do before you go to bed, or go out to school, or go to work, etc, etc. So this would be a good one, because usually you can probably put in, you know, 5-10 races. You don't care about the servicing because you're not gonna be playing for the next 2-3 hours or so. So this would be the good kind of events to join, because when you come back, you're gonna get yourself some money, and if you do 10 races in an event like this, you might have a higher chance of coming back in 2-3 hours where the event has already ended, where you will get a top 10 or MVP finish. Probably not MVP, but top 10, yeah, probably strong. So yeah, that's a pretty bad one to join as well. This one's pretty good to join if you still can join, but as you can see, it's already full, 150 to 150. Why this is good to join is because there's only about 3k left to bleed out. So, you know, give that, you know, 10-15 minutes, it'll be done. Maybe even less than that. This one's a great one as well. I believe this is the one that I joined because, yeah, as you can see, there's only 2k to bleed out. This will be done within maybe 5-10 minutes maxed. This one is pretty bad, I would say. This one is okay. This one is bad because that's a 10k. Now, this one, I would say, is a really good example of the absolute worst. So, you see this over here, Midnight 52, as well as, what is this next one called? Midnight 51. Those two are absolutely atrocious. Why is that? It's because, this is a perfect example over here. Obviously, if you are in Midnight, you are going to have a horrible time, because, let's say Midnight joined first, and Midnight was winning, because at one point Midnight was winning. It was 10k legacy and it went down to 5,781. So usually when it boils down to 10k to 0, it might take 30 to 45 minutes. I'm not too sure, around that range, because usually when I see 10k, I don't count in time how long it takes it to go down. I just leave, and I don't play clubs for the next 2 hours or so. But yeah, Midnight was winning. So these 10 Midnight members, let's see these unlucky souls that are in here right now. So these unlucky souls like Alfonso and Dimitri, you know, they joined this event and they were winning, and that probably from 10,000 to 5,781 probably took about 15 minutes of their time, let's say, okay? And then suddenly Legacy decided to take over, and now they're winning, and now they've gone from 10k to 4,112, and it's counting down, and that probably took another 20 minutes. So right now, the people that joined from Midnight immediately from the start have wasted, what, maybe 35 minutes of their time, and they still have to wait about 10-15 minutes to go for the counter to really clock down. That is such a waste. The worst thing about this is that, let's say you're in Midnight's, you see what I mean? It wasn't even 5 minutes and the event's already done, and that should be 7k easy in the bag. There you go, 6,600, which is almost 7k, 7,600 if you win, but obviously we're full throttle, we lose all the time. So let's say that you were in Midnight's position right now. Not only do you see the tables being turned, there is nothing you can do to make a comeback, because this event is locked out from Midnight's, you know, territory. So no more reinforcements from Midnight can join this event until Midnight 63 over here ends, and only if Midnight 63 is won by Midnight. If Legacy wins it, then these guys are completely segregated. There can be no reinforcements. This event right here, Midnight 52, as you can see, out in the middle of nowhere, from a Midnight perspective, is the worst kind of event to join. So if I'm full throttle and there's an event out here in the middle of nowhere and I join that is going to be a waste of my time. I'm going to lose a lot of time. So once again, next thing, I think this event was next to die, but we can't join that because it's 150 to 150. Now, last but not least, I need to go soon, right? So now I need to go soon. I can look at, you know, any event, because I know that I'll be back in 2 hours time, and that doesn't really matter. So I'm going to join Storm Chaser over here. Now this one's actually going to be a bot race, because as you can see, this Legacy event is actually being cut out. So no Legacy members can join right now. So this is going to be a bot race. This is a good event where you have like crappy ultra rares. Maybe you don't have a very good garage. You're going to get easy wins from this, because all you're going to do is win the bots, beat the bots, and win by commons. Like beat commons is what I mean. But I don't want to join that. I don't like bot races, so But also what I'm looking for right now is I'm looking for the highest RQ. Let's join this one. Yeah, 435 road less taken. So I already have a hand saved for this. As you know, it is RLT Japan 311. And guess what? We can change up the blueprint a little bit because we have even more RQ to use. So I'm going to be using my GTR Track Edition nickname coin as well as my Lancer Evo. That's 392 to 435. I can bump it up even more. That gives me 92 to work with. What do I want to see over here? Well, let's go into filter and let's go into off-road tires because that's literally all I'm looking for. All right, so we're going to be using the Nissan Silvia 200 SX. I don't need to spend 2-3 minutes to try and find the perfect hand, so boom, we get straight into it, and we're gonna get an easy win as well because I've done the research. I know the track sets, I know the best cars to use, so the 3 off-road conditions are gonna go over here. You're gonna go on the 0 to 100 and you're gonna slalom. Now I'm gonna show you why this is called road less taken hot garbage, okay? Right now, as you can see, there's 2 dry and 3 dirt, right? 2 dry, 3 dirt. When it comes to road less taken, that usually is the main blueprint. There's 3 off-road, 2 on-road, 3 off-road, 2 on-road. There is one road less taken track set, however, that is called road less taken Rex. That's what I named it, and it's 3 on-road, 2 off-road. But it's consistent that way, which is fine, which always means that, oh, I can rely on using 3 off-road tire cars and 2 on-road tire cars. Now there's a second one. Once again, 3 off-road, 2 on-road, right? But now we have 1 wet. So, you know, a 4-wheel drive car is pretty useful over here. So, boom. Once again, this was wrong of me, by the way. I wasn't thinking about this, putting the Suzuki Pikes Peak on the twisty road. You want to use a high ground clearance car for that. That's probably going to be better. But I guess it really doesn't matter. I mean, I guess you can use the Nissan Patrol, but yeah, move on, right? So now we have 2 off-road, 3 on-road. So you see what I mean about the dilemma, why I hate this track set so much? Because if you run 3 off-road tire cars are basically on the rain, are like putting slick tires on the rain. You don't want to do that. So if you run 3 off-road tire cars, because some track sets have 3 off-road tires, that means that you are subject to use an off-road tire car on the on-road sector, which means you have to use your 2 performance tire cars because other track sets have 2 dry asphalt on the rain. So if anyone else is using a standard tire car, there's a big chance that you're probably going to lose, which sucks. So this is why the Pikes Peak is one of the best cars for this track set, and that's why I don't have any problems with it. But yeah, this is why I don't like this track set. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. This is basically how I play clubs. You know, make it as efficient as possible for you. Find, you know, the requirements that work for you, find the events that work for you. The next thing you want to do is you want to know what you're going to be racing in, and then you want to save those hands so you can have quick turnovers. The more efficient your experiences in clubs, the less stressful it is, and the more money that you're going to make. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it once again. Let me know what you think about my strategies down in the comment below, but this is basically how I make about $1 million a week every time. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night.